Hi everybody, welcome to my yoga video. This is Yoga with me, Yoga Kit. Today I'll be taking you through a short sequence that is designed for mobility, especially in the hip and leg area through the hamstring. So if you've been sitting down all day at a desk working hard, this is a great practice for you to do either on your lunch break if you have the time or after work. It also doesn't involve a lot of moving around, so it's mainly floor work. So let's come onto the mat. So bringing ourselves down, bringing the back down, and just drawing the knees together, taking the feet out as wide as the mat. I'm just feeling the connection of the spine with the mat, and just allowing the body to melt. Just maybe repositioning the sacrum. So when you draw the knees together, it can really help to draw the spine all the way down to the floor, especially if you've got a curve from the bottom of your spine like me. Just allowing yourself to arrive. Just taking some nice deep inhales and exhales into the chest, into the belly, breathing all the way up into the collarbones. And just feeling that expansion through the ribs. Pushing the feet down. Starting to draw the mind inward and just pulling it away from the day. Becoming really present. Just for a moment. Maybe even placing a hand on the belly. One hand on the collarbone. So you can really get that sensation of the lift and drop as you inhale and exhale. And then just blinking the eyes open if they were closed, drawing the hands down to the sides. And then starting to bring the knees up towards the chest. Wrapping the hands around the knees and just gently rocking from side to side, just massaging into the spine, pointing the toes, maybe even bringing the forehead to the knees, just to get a nice stretch through the spine. Still staying with those deep belly breaths, inhaling and exhaling, lovely. And then lowering the head back down onto the mat. Taking your, just moving myself backwards, just taking your left leg out in front, bringing the right knee in towards the chest on the inhale. And then as you exhale, just rotating and pushing that right knee over towards the left hand side, taking the right arm out towards the right, coming into your supine twist. So just go ahead and take the gaze over to the right hand. So breathing into that right armpit, just feeling that lovely stretch through the right hand side. You can even place your left hand onto the top of your right thigh, just to really ground that leg. If the leg doesn't come all the way down, the right leg doesn't come all the way down to the floor, then that's fine, no worries. In time, we can work towards bringing it all the way down to the floor. If you're feeling an uncomfortable pulling sensation in the hip, you can place something underneath that right knee. Just breathing nice and deeply into that right hand side of the chest, the ribs, the lungs. Just enjoying that sensation. And then inhaling to come back to center. And we'll switch sides, taking the right leg out. Left leg comes in for a second on the inhale. And then as you exhale, taking that left knee over towards the right. Bringing that left arm out towards the left. So taking the gaze to the left now. And then taking that right hand maybe to the top of the left thigh. Just drawing the belly in, just feeling that nice stretch now through the intercostals on the left hand side. Maybe even closing down the eyes, just dropping that left shoulder down onto the mat or as far down as you can. Maybe even pressing it down. Then inhaling, coming back to center. Drawing the knees in towards the chest just for a second. And then taking the hands round the insides of the feet and just clasping the soles of the feet. Bending the knees and then slowly drawing your knees towards your armpits. So you're using the resistance of your own body to really push down onto your feet. Just feeling that gentle stretch through the inside of the thighs. Using your breath here, inhale and exhale to just draw those knees down. Really feel that stretch. Maybe even rocking from side to side. Just massaging the spine. And then drawing the knees in towards each other and taking your legs up into the air. So straightening out through the legs, flexing through the toes, bringing the hands down to the side so palms are now in contact with the mat. And we're just going to work into flexing and extending through the feet just to get some range of movement into the ankles. Just working, inhaling and exhaling, drawing those toes together, drawing those toes towards you, and then pointing the toes up into the sky. So really push the heels away from you when you draw the toes towards the face, just to feel that deep stretch through the back of the legs and through the shins. And let's work into taking some circles with the feet now. Just finding that full range of movement with the feet. Just a nice release. Still staying with the breath. Still finding contact with the spine and the mat. And then taking those circles the other way. And then coming to stillness, flexing the feet, so drawing the toes towards you, pushing the heels back. We're going to bring the hands and the arms up, fingers facing towards your toes. Inhale to reach and touch the toes for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale to release. And again, inhale, engage your core, lifting up, touching the toes. Can you grab them for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale to release. One more, inhaling to reach up, using the strength in the back, using the strength in the core. 3, 2, 1. Exhaling to release. Lovely. Just padding out the feet on the floor. Then bringing the knees towards the chest, we're going to rock and roll ourselves up to a seated position. So rocking forwards and backwards. Coming into our all fours just for a second. And just rocking the hips from side to side. Just getting a little bit of movement into the hips. Making sure that the fingers are nice and evenly spread. So you've got lots of support. Making sure that the elbows have got a micro bend in them. And also that you're pushing into your forefinger and your thumb more than any of the other fingers, just to make sure that your wrists are nice and stable. Spreading through the shoulder blades, lengthening through the spine, drawing the belly towards the spine. So you're engaging through your core, engaging through your corset muscles. Knees are as wide as your hips. And then we're starting to work our hands forwards, coming into our puppy dog pose. So in puppy dog pose, you want to take the hands out in front of us, spread the fingers nice and wide, and just draw your forehead down onto the mat. So feeling that stretch through the shoulders, through the back, all the way down to the tailbone, and also down the backs of the legs into the glutes. Just holding here. This is a lovely pose to get some good breathing practice. So this is a really lovely pose as it expands the chest, opens up the airways. So taking some nice deep breaths for me. All the way into the belly, filling the lungs, exhaling. breathing out, blowing the breath away. And again, inhaling and exhaling. One more breath, inhale. Good, exhale. On the next inhale, take the gaze up. We're going to take our left hand underneath our right arm, coming into our thread the needle. So here you want to square your hips off, so just making sure that they're as parallel as they can be, just gazing under that right arm, holding here, just finding that stretch through the right hand side. And if it's in your practice, you can bring the right hand around the back and just placing it on the left thigh, just to find a deeper stretch through the spine, through the ribs. Drawing the belly in, using the core. And then releasing the hands down. Coming back into our puppy dog pose, or we can come and bring the chest down further, taking the gaze to the top of the mat. So it's just a deeper stretch through the chest, through the spine. If there's any pinching in the lower part of the spine, please ease off. This is called our melting heart pose. Really expanding through the chest, drawing the belly button in. Focusing the mind. And then inhaling to draw yourself back up and taking that right arm underneath the left, gazing under the left arm. Squaring off the hip, so drawing that right hip forward, left hip goes back. Holding here, and then maybe even taking that left arm around the back, drawing it round, placing it on the right thigh, and just finding that opening sensation in the left shoulder. You can even kind of push into the left ribs just to hold yourself open. Again, nice deep belly breaths here, guys. And exhaling to release. Just giving the spine a little wiggle. Maybe even working into the hips, just moving them from side to side. Taking some free movements here. Maybe taking a figure of 8, so drawing the figure of 8 with the hips. Or just shaking them from side to side. Just do here whatever suits you, whatever serves you right now. Be intuitive, work with the body. And then come to stillness. We're taking our right leg out to the side. So straight out to the side, planting all of the sole of the right foot onto the floor. Left knee is bent. So drawing the belly button in, feeling that stretch through the right hip. We then inhale, taking the right hand up into the sky, drawing the shoulder blades together, just finding that support in the left arm, just making sure we've got a micro bend in the elbow so that we're not locking into our joints. And as we exhale, just bringing that right hand down to the right foot, and then inhaling, taking it back up. Exhaling to lower, inhaling to lift. Really thinking about your positioning here, guys. Just really pushing that right foot into the floor to get that nice deep stretch. It's really all about how much you challenge yourself, how much you actually want to work. Taking one more inhale, keeping that right arm up, stretch into the sky, maybe taking the gaze down if it's hurting the neck a little bit. You can even take the right hand around the back, placing it on the left thigh, just opening the chest up towards the ceiling. And then exhaling, taking the right hand down. Inhaling, left arm goes up. So now we should be feeling a slightly deeper stretch through the inside of the right thigh. Just holding here. And then exhaling, lowering that left hand down and up. So still using the core. So using that engagement of the right foot pushing down into the floor. Just working into that right hip, just getting some mobility and a good range of movement. And finding a nice stretch through the ribs on the left hand side. Inhaling, taking that left arm up just for a moment, and then drawing the hands forwards, coming up onto the fingertips, just leaning the bottom back and just finding that deep stretch through the groin area, through the right inner thigh. Inhaling to come up, placing the hands onto the mat, taking the right foot behind you. Just finding your positioning now, just pushing the ball of the right foot into the mat, pushing the right heel away from you. Squaring off the hips, drawing the belly in, spreading through the shoulders, through the shoulder blades, and having that micro bend in your elbows. And just starting to push that right heel back and away from you. So you're really feeling that stretch through the back of the right leg, working into the right hamstring. Still using those deep belly breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And then on the next inhale, flatten through your left foot and start to lift your right leg up into the air, flexing through the right foot so the toes are facing down, engaging through both glutes, and then slowly starting to lift and lower through that right leg. Just still finding that engagement through the core, through your corset muscles. Again, challenging yourself, working yourself. If you want to work yourself a little bit harder, maybe creeping that left hand forward, either coming up onto the fingertips of the left hand or taking the hand out in front of you. Just making sure that the foot that you're lifting, the leg that you're lifting, isn't coming up too high, so no higher than hip height. If you feel that there's any pinching in the lower spine, just lower the leg. Just taking one more here. Then taking your left hand round and taking hold of that outside of your right ankle, or you can take hold of the top of the right foot, pushing the right foot into the hand and then pushing that foot away from you. So still engaging through the core, stabilizing through the left thigh, the left glute, just feeling that stretch through the side of the left thigh, through the right leg. One more breath. And then exhaling to release. Just wiggling through the hips. And then we'll repeat on the other side. So taking that left leg back now. Again, remembering your positioning, drawing that belly in, spreading through the shoulder blades, spreading the hands nice and wide, pushing into the ball of the left foot and pushing that left heel away from you. So really finding that nice deep stretch through the back of the left leg, finding that engagement through all of the lower part of the body. Just challenging yourself, working the body. Still staying with that breath, and if the mind wanders, just bringing it back. And then flattening through the right foot, inhaling to lift that left leg off the ground, flexing the left foot, and and we exhale to lower, inhale to lift. Still trying to keep the hips nice and square. And if you feel that the weight is tipping into the right hand side, try and even it out so that the body has got a sense of balance or equilibrium. And then maybe creeping that right hand forwards, just to challenge yourself. Maybe allowing it to hover, still keeping the spine nice and long, so taking the gaze to the top of the mat. Still staying with that lovely breath, inhaling and exhaling. Just taking one more here, allowing the left leg to hover for a second, bending the left knee, taking the right hand round, grasping the left foot, and then we push the left foot into the right hand. Maybe taking the gaze over the right shoulder. Lifting that left knee. Just feeling that nice deep stretch through the front of the left thigh. Just one more breath here and then gently releasing. Coming back to your tabletop, rocking the hips from side to side. And then tucking the toes underneath. Tipping the feet back and coming into your squat position. So in your squat, if you can take the full inversion of squat, then bringing the feet to the edges of the mat and sitting back on the heels, bending the knees as if you're sitting like a frog. Just drawing the tailbone down, opening up through the chest and bringing the hands into prayer at heart center. Using your elbows to push your knees outwards, really pushing the heels down into the mat to really help to open up through the inner thighs and feel the stretch through the hips. If that's difficult for you and you have something that you can place the heels on, then go ahead and do that. And you can bring the feet in a little bit closer just to begin with. So resting the heels, or it could be a rolled blanket, just something that you can rest the heels on, just to give yourself a little bit of height that you can still push into. And then just taking your malasana, your squat. So wherever you are, just working yourself into your squat position, remembering to push the heels into the mat, really grounding down, opening up through the hips, allowing the tailbone to draw down, engaging through the core, opening up through the chest. And then taking the arms forward, inhaling for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Bringing the hands into prayer at heart center. We're taking the left hand down onto the mat. Inhaling, taking that right arm up into the sky, using our left, sort of the back of our left arm to push into our left knee, just to draw the hips open and to open up through the chest. Just feel the stretch through the right hand side. You can even go ahead and take a bind if that's in your practice. So wrapping your left arm around your left leg, right arm comes around the back. Still drawing the tailbone down. And then exhaling to release, maybe just wiggling the hips a little bit. It is quite an intense pose, but it is a really great pose. It's a great kind of all over workout for the body. And then coming back into your malasana, and we'll repeat on the other side. So right hand comes down, inhaling, left arm goes up. So really pushing the chest open, pushing the back of the right arm into the right knee. Just feeling that expansion through the chest, just drawing the energy through the fingertips. And also, and then go ahead and take your bind, so wrapping the right arm around the right knee, left arm goes around the back. Again, remember, it's all about challenging yourself, guys. If you don't feel like it, then you don't need to do it. If you haven't done it before, then again, that's fine. Just working towards it. This is your practice. And then gently releasing, just walking the hands out in front of you, coming up onto the fingertips, just taking a gentle stretch, lowering the head, so a bit more restorative. Inhaling to lift the head, bringing the knees down to the mat, maybe just giving the giving the hips a little shake from side to side. And then starting to work that right foot towards the outside of your right hand. So hands are still placed on the mat, but they're now on the inside of the right foot. And here we're just going to take some gentle rocking motions forwards and backwards. So we're now on the left knee. If you need something underneath the left knee to support it, if it gets a bit sore, you can pop a block or a blanket. I do get sore knees sometimes, so it does help. So engaging through your core, drawing the belly towards the spine. Just maybe taking those rocking motions a little bit deeper, so hinging forward, lengthening through the front of the left leg, and then hinging back and feeling that stretch through the right leg. Again, so working into the hips, working into our psoas muscle, and the psoas muscle travels from the spine all the way down to the knee. It's one of our hip flexors, and it can become quite short if you spent the day sitting down. So this can be a really lovely sort of pose, sort of lunges, just to work into it, make it nice and long. And then maybe working that right foot out towards the edge of the mat, and maybe even coming onto the outer edge of the right foot, so tipping the foot upwards. And maybe bringing the forearms down onto the mat, just taking a deeper stretch into that right hip. Still staying with the breath. Just be mindful you're not hunching through the shoulders. Just relax the jaw. Close down the eyes. Inhaling to come up. Bringing the left hand down onto the mat. Just allowing that right knee to track out towards the side. Reaching the right hand up. Just finding that opening sensation through the right hip area. Also feeling the stretch through the front of the left thigh. You can even push your right hand onto the inside of your right knee, just to deepen the stretch. If you want to deepen it even more, you can draw the right foot further forward, just to make it a little bit more intense. And you can also bring that right hand behind the back, opening the chest towards the ceiling. And then exhaling to bring that right hand down onto the mat. If you've got a prop, just releasing it for a second. Just taking your arms forward for a second, just stretching into the back of the right leg. And then we're going to move into our pigeon pose. So drawing that right leg, that right foot across the mat. So it's now the right foot is at the left edge of the mat. Just placing it behind the left wrist, and the right knee is behind the right wrist. And then just gently lowering the hips down towards the mat. So your pigeon pose is a fairly deep hip stretch, a hip opener. So checking your positioning first and just making sure that your hips are tracking forwards and they're square to the front of the mat. And if you need support underneath your right bum cheek, then just pop a block underneath there just to make sure that you've got some support. Left leg, left thigh should be tracking behind you and the left foot should be flat onto the mat. So finding that lifting sensation, so your spine is lifting up out of the pelvis as you feel that nice deep stretch through the right thigh. You can even take some gentle stretch, some gentle bounces just to work into that right hip. You can hold here, inhaling to lengthen, exhaling, just working into lowering yourself down. Again, if you're not there at the moment, then that's absolutely fine. Just work towards your edge. If there's any pinching in the lower part of the spine, just ease off. You can also start to work yourself down onto the mat, so maybe drawing down onto the forearms, or maybe lowering the chest and the head. And if you feel that you're tipping over to one side, just squaring the body, just making sure that the weight is evenly distributed between the right and left sides. Remembering to breathe, breathing into the backs of the ribs, the backs of the lungs. Just feeling that expansion. And then inhaling to come up. Removing your prop if you're using one. Just sitting over onto your right hip, swinging your left leg round. So we're going to take our left leg over our right, bringing the left foot down onto the floor. So essentially your knees, your right knee, your left knee is over your right knee. And then taking your hands behind the back, inhaling to open through the chest. And as you exhale, just hinging forwards. Still connecting the seat bones with the mat. And you can even bring the legs further around you if that's in your practice today. Just taking that slightly deeper stretch. Just making sure the fingers are nice and interlaced, the palms are together. Just feeling the stretch through the back of the legs. Inhaling to come back up, reaching the arms up and over the head. Interlacing, or taking the opposite elbows with the hands. Just opening the chest. Just moving from side to side. Just allowing the hands to drop to the floor. And then taking the hands to the mat in front of you. We'll repeat on the other side. So coming back to your tabletop just for a moment. Coming back to your tabletop and then bringing that left foot to the outside of the left hand. So we're now on the right knee, and again using that support for the right knee if you need it. Drawing the belly button in and just taking those gentle rocks forwards and backwards. Remember to spread through the shoulder blades, taking the gaze towards the top of the mat so we're keeping a nice long spine. Just working into that left hip and that right psoas muscle. Maybe taking them a little bit deeper. Just working with the breath, inhaling and exhaling. Good. Always go back to the breath if you feel that you're losing your grip on things a little bit. Make sure you're being intuitive. So just Listen to what the body needs. You know your body better than I do. I can only guide you. Remember, the body is different on different days. It's also different on different sides of the body, so the right and the left. And then go ahead and working that left foot, out towards the edge. Maybe coming onto the edge of the left foot. Maybe drawing the forearms down onto the mat to find that deeper stretch through the left thigh. Drawing the shoulders over the elbows. Engaging through the shoulder blades. Maybe bringing the head down. Then inhaling, bringing the right hand down onto the mat. Allowing that left knee to fall outwards. Inhaling, reaching all the way up with the left hand. You can even push the inside of the left knee away from you. Still engaging through the core, through the corset muscles. And you can even take that left arm behind you, placing it on the right thigh. Just opening the chest towards the ceiling. So you're feeling that nice rotation through the ribs. Just use the resistance of your own body. And then exhaling to release, just taking a nice deep stretch just for a moment, stretching the arms out in front of you, allowing that left knee to still track out towards the side. And inhaling to come up, just removing your prop and then working your left foot over towards the right hand side of the mat. So left foot is behind the right wrist, left knee is behind the left wrist, working that right hip down onto the mat, flattening through the top of the right foot. Can't get my right and left right today. Squaring the hips again, so just double checking that the hips are tracking sort of forwards. And then once you feel like you're in a comfortable position, can you lower down a little bit further? If you can't, then that's fine. Maybe just taking some gentle isolated movements with the hips, just to deepen the stretch. Just breathing into the pose, really melting into the hips here. And then lowering yourself down, maybe working the hands down onto the mat, maybe just coming onto the forearms. You can also use a block here. You can lower through the head, or you can take the full inversion, bringing the body down, melting the chest down, and just resting here, just really feeling that stretch. You should be feeling the stretch now through the left hip. Again, if there's any pinching, anything that feels uncomfortable, that's not a nice sensation, then just draw back. Just closing down the eyes, just finding that breath again, and that mind focus. Maybe even sending the breath down to the left hip if it feels quite tight. Just breathing into it and opening it up. And then inhaling to draw yourself all the way back up. Drawing that right leg round, taking it over the left. So we're now planting the right foot down onto the mat, or you can draw the feet behind you if that's in your practice and it feels comfortable. Just rolling the shoulders. Inhaling, taking the arms up and over the head, and then as you exhale, drawing that left arm behind you and drawing the right hand, the right forearm, pushing it into the knee, and just using it almost as a lever essentially to push the chest open to rotate the spine. So inhaling to lengthen, exhaling, just pushing that arm into the right knee, drawing the ribs, the chest, the shoulders and the head. So the head turns last. If you can keep the chin kind of in line with either your boobs or just your chest if you're a guy. It's a good indication of how far you're actually rotating. Sometimes we're just like this and we're not rotating at all. Just monitoring your own body and what it's actually doing. So working through your corset muscles. So there's a lot of engagement here. So it's a static pose, but essentially it's doing a lot of work. One more inhale and exhale to rotate. Just holding that pose. Really good. And then inhaling to release. And then we'll repeat on the other side. Inhaling, arms go all the way up. Exhaling, drawing that right hand behind you. Left forearm pushes against the right knee. Drawing the chest open. Looking over the right shoulder, or just as far as you can look. Remembering to keep the chin in line with the chest. And that would be a good indication of how far you're actually rotating. Nice deep belly breaths here, guys. Remembering there's a lot of internal engagement here. We're doing really well, we're nearly done. One more breath. And then inhaling to come back to center. Bringing the soles of the feet together now, taking the knees out wide and drawing those heels in towards you. If you need something underneath the knees, if there's any pressure in the knees, you can pop a block or maybe even a rolled up blanket underneath each knee just to give yourself some support. But we want to feel that nice stretch through the inside of the thighs. Taking your hands around the toes and opening your toes up like a book. So that will help you to roll the thighs outwards. Inhaling to lengthen through the spine. Exhaling, hinging forward. So really feeling the opening through the groin area, through the thighs, through the hips. Maybe even placing the elbows down onto the legs to hold them open. Finding that length in the spine. If there's any pulling in the lower part of the spine, just easing off. Every inhale, lengthen through the sternum, and as you exhale, draw your heart towards your feet. But remembering you're actually sort of drawing your body forwards to find that length before you lower. You maybe want to take the hands down onto the mat and taking the full inversion. Drawing the shoulder blades together if the head's down. One more breath. And then inhale to draw yourself all the way back up. Drawing the knees together, maybe padding out the feet. And there we go. So thank you guys. I hope you've enjoyed the class. Hope you're feeling a little bit more mobile now and not as stiff. I'll see you next time. Bye.